Well, excuse me. I apologize that it's taken me a whole 7 minutes to get everything up and rolling today, but we're here. Well, excuse me. I apologize that it's taken me a whole 7 minutes to. But yeah, here we go. Everything is up and rolling now. Oh, wait, I forgot my paper. The paper that is going to help keep us going in the right direction this morning. But yeah, let's get everything fully turned on. Looks like some of our stuff isn't on here. We got a couple of shadows back here, you know. But yeah. Let me see. Let me see here. What is it that I'm missing at this point? Oh, yeah, my paper. Like I said, give me 2 seconds. Okay, we're back. Don't have. It's funny because when I was writing this out this morning, I had 3 different segments, and the first one that came to my mind, I totally just all together, which is okay, and I'm not mad at it or anything like that. For the simple fact that, like I said, I didn't write it down, uh, but it's all good. So, I have a couple of things down here. I don't want to let everybody know right off the bat where we're going to go. But the first thing I do want to get into today, and I wanted to talk about just a little bit, is suicide. And the reason I want to talk about it just because there's a lot of things about it that people don't think about or realize that it may take on top of the fact that the person who is dealing with it or even telling you that they might be feeling this particular way, all the things that they may be dealing with. And I only want to touch on this for a cool like maybe 10-20 minutes because I don't want to make the show primarily about this, but to the point in touching on things. There's a lot of deciding factors when it comes to actually committing the act. And one of the things that I feel like a lot of people lack to realize about any suicidal person or any case or even the aftermath of them actually committing suicide is where that person is at mentally, or just period, where are they at? And it plays a very huge part as to how they distribute their love and how they receive love. Note, some of the people that I know that have the most love and care and compassion for people are some of the people who tell me they deal with this problem the most, which you would think isn't the case, but I think the fact that they are still here goes to show numbers on that fact. Give me 2 seconds. You know what it is. Okay, sorry about that. But yes, you wouldn't understand or don't know what it is that that person's going through, or understand the level of compassion and caring that they actually have for a lot of people around them, or the things around them, or themselves for the fact of the matter. Because the reason that they may feel this way is that they ultimately feel so much more love and compassion for themselves, but the situation in which they're in is not helping their mental state, and they ultimately just feel sorry for themselves, and makes them feel like, it would be much better if I was not here, in a sense. And I can't speak on everybody's feelings. I can't speak on where everybody's coming from with this particular situation, but just speaking on at the moments in life where I know I felt like this, or what it was that was a deciding factor for me not to do it, is just the fact of the people I care about and love, and knowing that it's going to hurt them. And ultimately, like, just knowing there's so many things in my life that I haven't done. Those were the kind of the deciding factors for myself for not actually going through with it and things like that. But yeah, it's there's a lot of things that play a part in that, and a lot of things that you wouldn't think of that may be going through the person's mind, and so on and so forth. So, it's just a lot of things, like I said, in worldly things and worldly aspects that we take on to play a huge part or a deciding factor in our life. And it's crazy that we, do that to ourselves and stuff, but sometimes we have to try and persevere. But it's not that simple. I can talk about it and tell you to do that, but granted, actually doing it and, and getting it done is a huge thing. And a lot of that, it all, like a lot of the fact of why you can't do it and why you won't do it, or whatever it may be for you. I know for me, it has a lot to do with like family, and like your whole, like I said, like who it's gonna affect ultimately. Excuse me. But yeah, who is it gonna affect ultimately, and like how will it affect them? Because you don't want to, like I was talking about yesterday, bring it around full circle, in the sense of saying you have a little brother, sister, a little cousin that looks up to you, whoever, but you commit suicide, and then that creates the thought that this is a just way of escaping from whatever it is that is troubling me, and plants that thought in somebody younger than you. And like I said, if that thought takes over somebody's life at a early enough stage, it could ultimately paint the a huge picture, or paint the rest of their lives in a certain tint or certain color, I guess you could say. And it's very sad and drastic, to think of that it could actually have that type of effect on somebody else, because solely the whole reason for the person committing, suicide in a sense, was to rectify the negatives in their own life, and in retrospect, it just creates another negative. So like I said, like things coming around full circle, in a sense. It's not a straightforward, blatant circle, but I definitely try to connect the dots a little bit on how those things come back around full circle, which is it's sad. It is. It's very sad, but those are things that we like I said, if this was the situation at hand, or if you were going through this, or however the situation comes about in your life, like I said, these are the things that also need to be thought about, among tons of other things that I'm not pointing out currently. But like I said, it's not just raising the thought. That's what I'm here to do. Like I said, we're here to talk about it, not just not just let it be something that we let go on and go by, because that ultimately is one of the issues that we have with things today. A lot of people don't want to be a part of the issue, or not necessarily be a part of the issue, but be a part of fixing the issue. And a lot of us just want to throw those things to the side and kind of just be like, oh, well, that's not my problem. But yeah, and a lot of people are not trying to go down that route or even associate themselves with the emotions that are tied with that are tied with it and stuff like that. And it's like I said, I'm not mad at it or anything like that. I just really like to see progress. And it's cool. It's a little upsetting sometimes when we don't see the progress happening and we don't see people trying to move forward and do the things that we know would be a positive in not just your life but other people around you's life. And it's okay, but we can persevere or whatever. But yeah, moving on to other things that I did want to talk about and stuff was wow. I didn't know I could do that. But yeah, another thing I wanted to also talk about today was the family dynamic, and that's kind of I wanted to incorporate the like talking about suicide and stuff into that, and I got a little off of exactly how I was trying to steer the conversation, but it's okay because we can always just keep going and push on. Like I said, I wanted to talk about family dynamic, and what really brought this to my mind was the way that my family is kind of structured right now, or the way that a lot of things have gone, or so on. Just the way how I was raised and things like that, and the relationship I have with some of my older cousins and some of my younger cousins. And I'm starting to realize that within the family dynamic of my father and stuff like that, for instance, my father is one of 4 kids. He's also the youngest. So with that being said, I've always thought about it and realized that I probably am out of my on my parents' side. I guess I would say I'm one of the few. I guess all of my. I'm speaking and not full thoughts. Okay, so like I said, my dad is the youngest. With that being said, all of his siblings look to help push him to getting to a higher and better plateau, so to speak, I guess you can say. So with that being said, they have done everything within their power to help uplift, my dad and his kids and so on and so forth. And by saying that, I mean, I noticed that my cousins, one of my cousins, he doesn't have the best relationship with his father, and due to that, he doesn't have the best relationship with me and my brothers and sisters and so on and so forth, and some of my other cousins. And more recently, I have personally done what I can to try and reach out and so on. But with that being said, it's funny because I think back on my life and growing up and, and just the adolescent stages and stuff like that. And it's funny because my uncle, his father, has always been around in my life. And I think about it and I wonder, like, why is that or what it is? And it kind of dawned on me today. Like, I thought about it as if, for example, if it was me being the oldest and, like my little sister, kids, and so on, basically, as their older uncle or as my little sister's older brother, I would, be that person who's kind of trying to be there to help assist them and some of the things that I probably didn't do for my own or whatever, or however the situation goes and plays out. Not talking down on my uncle or anything or talking down on anybody, but just like I said, talking about the situation and talking about how life has slowly progressed, because it was very interesting to see. Because I distinctly remember a point in my life when my dad and my mom were telling me like, yeah, hey, your uncle who lives in uh up north is gonna come down here. Him and his wife are moving down here, and they moved down here, and they lived in this apartment complex not too far from our house and stuff. And he was always around, but the thing about it is his kids are, I think they're like at least 10 years older than me. So at the time that I was probably when he had moved here, I was probably close to like 12 or whatever. So that would make my cousins like well into their like closer to their 20s, or out of high school, probably into college. But to the point, my uncle and my aunt, they moved down here, and I don't remember my cousins moving down here. And like I said, to the cousin that I was talking about, he hasn't had that type of relationship with his father that he would like, and he counts the rest of the family off from that. I'm not saying he counts them off. I'm not gonna say that because I do talk to him, but definitely we're just not as close as we could be. That's just the point I'm gonna make with that. And like I said, with that dynamic and everything, and me having my uncle around me for majority of my life, like, well, actually all of my life, honestly, he's always lived in Texas. And to that same point in what I was trying to progress in is that slowly but surely my aunt, my father's other sibling, also moved down to Texas. But at that moment, my other cousins also moved down to Texas. So like those cousins, I do have a very much more closer relationship with. Granted, are we as close as I would like to be? No, but another story for another time. But to the point, and what I'm talking about family dynamic, is that with my father being the youngest child, his older siblings kind of flocked to him. And in that case, I feel like from where they're from and everything, they all wanted to see at least the youngest person in their family thrive and make it out of a situation. And it's interesting to say that, because I find in some family dynamics it's just due to the way that maybe the parent was raised, or whatever child in their family they are, whether they're the first or the last child, or how their parents went about parenting and so on. Like I said, they choose to create a new dynamic or reversed the scales on exactly how everything was done. So say, like I said, for example, in my family, like I said, from the example I've used, my father's family ultimately wanted to see somebody make it completely out of the area they were in. Granted, not saying that they all didn't make it out of that area, but they wanted to see somebody truthfully make it out. So, my dad will tell me, like, he's like, he'll think back on times where his brothers and sisters were like, no, don't do what we're doing, do something else, do something better. You could do a lot more better for your life, and so on and so forth. And they tried to preach that to him and, get him out there to do better, and so on and so forth. So like I said, with that dynamic, they ultimately push for the youngest person to thrive more. And in some cases, so it could be the reverse in that type of situation, where you ultimately want to see, like, your parents may do everything for their first child and help their first child thrive, and they're like, okay, well, my first child is a success, so every child I have after this, it should just be a success, just due to the fact that my first child was so successful, or did this or did that. And I find that it looks like in some cases with family dynamic that a lot of times parents, whatever they did for the first child, it either dwindles or they do it a lot more with the next child, or so on and so forth. And like I said, you can only, you only have a first child once, so you can only You only make mistakes and learn from your mistakes. I mean, granted, you can learn from other people's mistakes and so on and so forth. But yeah. But to the, like I said, the family dynamic thing and everything, I was gonna talk about like. Well, I actually did get to it. I mean, I'm hitting my points without intentionally hitting my points. And the next thing I had down there is the birthing order. Like I said, due to with certain families and the dynamic of certain families, like the birthing order could play a huge part in how you are looked at, or even how people look at you around you, how people in school look at you, how your teachers look at you, and so on. Like I said, being the oldest child, you gain a lot of responsibilities just for being the oldest child, in a lot of cases. And there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing bad about it. It's just something that comes along with being the oldest child. And as being my parents' oldest child, I definitely understand it, because it's something my dad's preached to me my whole life. He's like, you're the oldest, you got to live by example. You're the oldest, you got to live by example. And, I don't know if I was the best example or the worst example, but I can definitely say that neither one of my younger siblings are in prison. So, I mean, honestly, in life, it's on it's funny. Oh, give me a second. I gotta change out this battery. After I change this battery, we're going to talk about just let me change this battery. I'm not gonna explain it right now. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. Like I said, got it all situated and everything. But yeah, what was I saying? Where was I at? I'm not 100% sure right exactly this moment. But yeah. I really wish I could remember, but it's all right. Coda, do you want to be on the show today? Yeah. Okay. Okay, baby puppy. It's okay. But yeah. So I guess for this last 30 minutes, because we're already 30 minutes in, as y'all can see, Coda's being very ornery today. I don't know what is his issue. But it's definitely good to be able to have family there for you. Ultimately, I know I kind of lost where I was with the whole family dynamics, the birthing order, and stuff like that. Um, and stuff, because a lot of people. Oh, ah! Coda, stop. Bye. Okay, yeah. But anyway, sorry about the distraction. But yeah, like I said, I don't remember where I was with the family dynamics or birthing order and care order. Oh, you want to leave, bud? Too bad. You're a menace. You have to excuse me. Coda likes to be a menace and mess with everybody. Him's only 11 months. His birthday's coming up here soon, and he definitely wants whatever he wants. Him's just a baby, so he doesn't get to do what everybody else does. But like I said, it's interesting to see how families like ultimately gauge their overall success based off of one person's success, not to just jump around on the family dynamic and stuff like that, but um that can tend to be the situation, especially if somebody is overly successful, um and that then can ultimately change the family's dynamic. For instance, with the like the Trump family, I can definitely say that Donald Trump was not the top of his family until he became the president, or even then, like still, you know, well, uh, anyway, but yeah, there's a lot of things that I could say about Donald Trump and how, like I said, that family dynamic was definitely an interesting one. Or, like I said, that'd be a perfect example of like talking about like a weird family dynamic and things like that. As much as I would love to stay on serious topics this morning and talk about a lot of hard hitting things, there's not that much going on right now. I mean, I guess honestly, more so is not that much stuff that I'm trying to pay attention to that's going on right now. And by that I mean as far as just hard hitting stuff or things like that. I'm not saying that I don't care about anything that's going on right now, but um as humans, we got to find a level of, what's the word I'm looking for? We have to find a balance in the things we allow ourselves to absorb. And when I mean absorb, I'm talking about like news, media, stuff like that. Like you can only, see so much, do so much, and pay attention to so many things before it starts to drive you a little crazy. And I don't want to feel like I'm going crazy or the things in the world are too much to handle. Because I'm just one individual, for one, and two, there's so much. Like I said, if you allow yourself to constantly indulge in just actual like news and the things that are going on in the world, then it really like put a wear on you as far as what you can handle or how much it is that you can deal with. Because like I said, with everything that's going on with the COVID virus and so many different companies coming out with vaccines, and if you can trust these companies, and if it's all just for capital gain, and like so many other things like that. And that's just one minuscule thing that's going on right now. I mean, not minuscule in the sense of it's a small thing, but minuscule in the sense of how many other things are going on, like I guess as far as a percentage of the things that are going on, like I said, there's millions of things going on, and this is just one problem. That's why I use the term, or say that it's minuscule, even though this is probably one of the biggest issues that's going on right now in our lives. Topic: authenticity. There's a lot of things. I mean, I guess, yeah. Like I said, I was kind of swinging topics anyway. At this point, I was just kind of rambling just a little bit. But yeah, to get to a actual topic of authenticity, there's a lot of things that aren't authentic, or the. Let me go ahead and actually, you know what? Before I just start rambling on about it, or even just talking about it in a vague sense, let's just pull up the definition of authenticity just for pure understanding. And not to say that I don't understand or know the definition of authenticity. It definitely paints a better picture, or gives us a way better direction to go in, instead of just going off my perspective of the word or the definition just off the top of my head. But excuse me. So right here, just typing it into Google, the first definition says authenticity, noun, the quality of being authentic, which is not the most. It's a very vague definition. Let's go ahead and pull up the definition of authentic then. Authentic, worthy of acceptance or belief, as conforming to or based on facts. Like I said, it's funny. So authenticity, like I said, is what was the exact words that they used per se? Oh, scam likely, calling me like they call all of us all the freaking time. Go back. It says the quality of being authentic is authenticity, and authentic is worthy of acceptance or the belief as conforming to or based on facts. Another definition would be conforming to an original so as to reproduce essential features. Third definition is made or done the same way as an original, basically a copy. But an authentic copy would be something is more, it's reproducing the essential features. That's quite interesting when you think about it and you start to break it down just on the definition of the actual words. So with you talking about authenticity and stuff like that, a lot of people could definitely use this word to describe a lot of different things, or go in a lot of different ways with it, as far as is someone acting authentic, or is worthy of acceptance or belief as conforming to or based on facts. Is someone genuinely being authentic? There's so many different phrases and ways you can use and think of authentic or authenticity. There's a lot of stuff nowadays, I guess you could say, in a sense, that aren't authentic. A lot of stuff isn't authentic nowadays. I honestly, like, thinking about it, and I'd really need somebody else to come into the conversation and talk about like authenticity and stuff like that, to give me more of a lane to go in, because like I said, I really don't know where to aim this conversation per se. Just due to the fact of, like I said, just due to the fact, like I said, I have no real context to put this into other than just pulling up the definitions and reading them off and just giving my pure perspective of it. But honestly, like, to be authentic, I couldn't give a perspective about authenticity for the simple fact of it is its own facts. Like, authenticity is basically being able to point out the facts, or actually just living up to it. Your authenticity is living up to the facts of what is actually going on, or what it is, or what is said, or so on and so forth. In a sense, I mean, but yeah, maybe we can talk about authenticity tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a little bit more engaged in conversation. Well, actually, tomorrow's Wednesday. We normally do a show on Wednesday. We might do a show tomorrow and not do a show on Thursday, just to give me the time, as far as the day in the morning goes, to have myself on the right level and so on and so forth. Nothing against anybody, but like, it's just I like to handle my mornings and things a certain way, and yeah. But yeah, as far as authenticity goes, maybe we can talk about it tomorrow or on Thursday, depending on when I decide to do a show. Check up with me on Facebook and in the group and stuff. I'll let you guys know if we're gonna go to live tomorrow, or so on and so forth. But it's been a really good day today. I hope everybody has a wonderful day and things are great with you guys. So, with that being said, have a blessed one. It's been Jay for the Dub.